Hi guys, I am Umair Nazim and welcome to Let's Code. In the previous video, I showed you how to download Eclipse and how to print something in Java by using system.out.println statement. In today's tutorial, we will deal with the data types that are most commonly used in Java, which consist of integer, character, string, double, float, and boolean. So without wasting any time, let me show you about the data types. So our first step is to create the Java project. I will click on the file here in the new. Here as you can see that it is Java project. I will click here and whatever name you want to give, it depends on you. So here it is our first project, that's why I'm writing here project 01. I will click here. As you can see that our project has been created successfully. Now the second step is to create a package. So I am going to write here pack 01. Now our third step is to create the class. Now here class. Now the class I'm going to write give the name, for example types, because I'm going to teach you about the data types. That's why I give the name types. So now after that guys, you must have to select this this option, public static void main. So when I click on the finish, as you can see that here we have our package, here we have our class. Now our first data type is integer. Now what it means integer? Integer means that simply the values like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 100, 1000. Simply these things are called values, but without the decimals. So integer. So when you want to deal with integers, you have to write first int. Int means integer. The second step is to create a variable. Now what is a variable? Actually variable, you can say it is like a box in which you can store something. So variable is similar like a box in which you can store your data. So I will create a variable and I have to assign a name. I will create a variable, for example its name is a. Now I want to store something in the a. When I will write here 1, now this one value has been initialized into a. Now I want to print it. So to print, I will use system.out.println, and every time you have to end your Java project, like your Java statement, with the semicolon. Now actually here I cannot now for this time I will not use here 1, 2, 3 between this system.out.println. Now because my one value is stored in this variable a. Now I will use here the variable name, for example a. Now to execute a program, I have to click on this green button. Now when I click here, as you can see that here it is 1. So now if I want to write here, for example 100, now again I will write here a, and now when I will execute, as you can see in the console bar, it is written a. Now our second data type is double, and what is a float. So these two are both these both are the different data types. Now if I want to deal with float, now actually whenever you want to write something in Java, first your first step is to think that what kind of data type is it. Now if you are dealing with integer, you will write int. If you are dealing with float, first step is to write the data type, which is float. Now float, second step is again to create the variable. You can give any name, for example q. Now to deal with float, what is float? So float is a thing that contains some decimals, for example 2.002. this means a float. So to deal with floats, after writing your number, you have to use this f, and then you will use this semicolon. Now again I will print here this q variable and execute button. Now as you can see that our value has been printed in the console. Now the third step is the third data type is double. Now, actually, double is similar with the float, and both will contain the values like decimal values, but there is a little bit different, and I will tell you what is the different. So double, I can give any other name. If I write here, for example, v, it is a data like variable name. So you can write here 3.33 like this. So now, actually, what is the difference between double and float? So when you're dealing with the float, you have to write at the end this f. You have to write this letter f. While dealing with the float, you don't need to write this f. So if you write here f, so it is not a problem, but you don't need to write here f. Now, the second difference is float will contain 32 bits, but the double will contain 64 bits. So it means that when you are dealing with the mathematical subjects and you want to take more accurate, more precise value, then I will suggest you to use that double instead of using float. Now, if you want to again print the value, you have to write the variable name, which is v. Now, as you can see that here it is, our value has been written here, this one you can see. So these are the basic difference between integer, float, and double. Now the next type is character and string. Now, what is a character? Actually, a character means just a single letter. So when you want to write a character, you will write here again the character, char, and you will give a variable name, whatever you want. You can write a, or you can write b, whatever you want. So I'm going to write here, for example, my name, which is Umair, and I will assign so a single character like this one, a, for example. Now here one important thing is when you are dealing with a character, you have to write the letter within the single quoted commas here, within the single quoted commas. So if you do not write with single quoted commas, for example like this, so it will show you an error, as you can see. So now I want to print this. I will use here system dot out dot print line. Now again I will use here my variable name, that is Umair, and like this I will finish. So as you can see, when I execute it, it is now a. In the console it is written a. Now if I want to deal with a string, now what it means, a string. So a string is a bunch of characters. It is a group of characters. Like you can say it is a statement, for example. So string, to deal with string, you have to use this s with an uppercase, this s with an uppercase. So string, again the similar step, I have to create that data type. But here one important thing I want to show you. For example, if I again use my name like Umair, and like this one, I didn't assign anything. Now it is showing an error because in one class I cannot use like two variables with the same name. So must I have to give some difference. So if I write here with an uppercase, for example, Umair, as you can see that now there is no error. And what does this equal means? This equal means to assign something into Umair, to put something into the variable. Now, when you want to deal with the string, you have to use the value. You have to write your value between these two quoted commas. So I'm going to write my name. So I am Umair Nazim. Like for example, if I write here, I am Umair Nazim. So if I use here Umair with a bigger letter Umair. Now, as you can see that here my name is written in the console. Now our next step is how can we write the Boolean statements in Java. Actually, Boolean is a decision making data type in which you make the decisions. The value is true or either it is false. So for the Boolean, first you have to initialize the data type. Data type is Boolean. Then you have to create a variable again. So the variable name is decision. Now I can just assign two values, true or false. The other values I cannot assign, like 0, 1, 2, and string I cannot assign, just two values. So if I use here true, then now one shortcut key to use a system out print line statement is first use s with the with the uppercase SYSO, and then you press Control and space. Now automatically the whole statement is written for us, and then the cn. So here you will click on the green button, and as you can see here it is written true. Now if I write here false instead of this thing, right here false. Now as you can see here the value false. Now guys, that's it for today. If you like the video, so please subscribe my channel, write your comments, give your opinions and share it with your friends. See you in the next video with a new topic. Take care.